So the Mars in Gemini is in full force now. Mars was retrograde in Gemini. Now he's what's called stationary direct, which means that he's no longer moving backwards. Stationary direct means that the planet basically stops in the sky after going one direction. It kind of stops before going the other direction. So he's not really moving forward yet, but he's just stopped going backward. So what this means is that there's a huge Mars in Gemini sort of buildup of energy happening right now. Mars, of course, is that energy of that planetary force in you and in the cosmos that is about defending what we think is right. Now, we're meant to defend with our actions and putting our principles into practice. That's what Mars is about. Mars is where we fight for something that's right or wrong. But fighting doesn't mean arguing, because when you're arguing, you're not really accomplishing anything, right? And now that doesn't mean that you can't take issue with, using words and using language, but that's really the domain of Mercury, is to coerce or convince with words, which is a very Gemini function, is to be persuasive and to inform. You don't really convince anyone of anything by arguing with them. Now, if someone is open, then you can show them data or you can communicate details that are going to give them another perspective if they're open to hear it. But many times they're not. And so the Mercury part of us, again, Mercury is the ruler of Gemini, the Mercury part of us realizes this and will try to communicate clearly what's going on. And that includes clearly communicating something like, well, no matter what I say, you're not open. You're not open you're not open to listen and you're not open to hear it. So it doesn't matter what I say. You're going to just keep believing whatever you want to believe. That's the Jupiter thing. So this is how Mercury and Jupiter are opposite. I already believe it. Doesn't matter what you say. I already believe it. So again, I'm saying this because this is the sort of Gemini environment. You get Mars going in there. Mars isn't about trying to coerce with language and try to say, hey, have you thought about it this way? Hey, no, Mars is trying to destroy what we think is wrong. You're wrong. And I'm here to show you why you're wrong and to defeat you and to win. But we can't win over ideas that way, right? Mars is good for taking action and being disciplined in our actions. And the way Mars best works is through putting our principles into practice, like I said at the beginning, and having real strength of character. And that means the strength of character to put into practice what we know is right, to walk the talk, not just talk the talk. And so, again, when he's in Gemini, there's some frustration, though, because, again, Gemini is about ideas and communicating ideas. And it's very easy for Mars, it's very easy for the opinions of Mars to sound like communication. Mars and Mercury can look very similar to each other because I'm talking and Mars is talking and it sounds like Mercury. It sounds like, yes, these are my ideas. You're an idiot. Well, that's not an idea. That's an opinion. Mars thoughts are actually opinions about what's right and wrong. And those opinions are good for something to get us to do something. Because once I know something is right or something is wrong, I'm going to do what is right. That's what Mars is. Notice I said do what's right. Not talk about what's right, do what's right. So again, we see this a lot with people who talk about what's right. And by the way, we all know what's right. We all do know what's right, but we don't do it because doing what's right is much harder than talking about what's right, thinking about what's right, and then just doing whatever the hell we want to do because it's easier to do what makes us happy and comfortable in the moment and to just defend the ideas we already believe. Again, Mars is where we have to turn that destructive nature of Mars on ourselves and destroy our own weaknesses. So ponder that now as Mars continues through Gemini.